Hi guys, this is gsno.com and I'm here with a review of the Samsung Galaxy S10 Lite. People have been wondering, why does this phone exist? Because we already have the Galaxy S10, S10e and S10 Plus. Well, in some ways this is actually better than some of the S10 models. So it was unveiled back in February this year and it should be priced around $600 right now, or even $500 in some countries. It's a 6.7-inch phone with a Snapdragon CPU, the best CPU from last year, well, close to it, the Snapdragon 855. However, this time it gets a plastic case. So let's start the review. First of all, design. Now you can tell that the facade has pretty narrow bezels, even though there's a bit of a chin here, so I'm happy with the choice they made at the front, while at the back it's all polycarbonate, plastic, however you want to call it. It's easier to scratch, it draws fingerprints and a lot of lint and cat hair around the camera area. You're definitely going to need a case for this one. Now I have mixed feelings about the ergonomics. Now it's a pretty wide phone and also a pretty long phone, not very easy to use with a single hand, and it's somewhere in between slippery and comfy, so definitely a case is needed. It feels pretty robust, like it's well built, even though it's made of plastic. It weighs around 186 grams and weighs close to and measures close to 8 millimeters in thickness. Okay, so that's it design wise. Pretty from the front, not very premium from the back side, but the case solves it all. Now on the screen front, we're dealing here with a special panel I haven't heard in a while now. This one is called Super AMOLED Plus. We're accustomed to Super AMOLED or Dynamic AMOLED, so Super AMOLED Plus 6.7 inches, 2400 over 1080 pixels in resolution, HDR10 Plus support, which is a big deal, and well, that's pretty much it. The punch hole here is pretty big, and let's see how the phone behaves when you're watching a specially tuned video. Okay, so I'm going to go here and select the best option to view video, and let's check it out. Okay, so first of all, you can see here the punch hole. It's quite big, perhaps bigger than the Galaxy Note 10 generation. The colors are very vivid, and there's actually a wide range of colors here. We got deep blacks, solid brightness, and some of the best viewing angles on the market, the widest viewing angles, so very happy with the calibration here. Bright, crisp, detailed, vividly colored. Okay, and then we go to the tests we did upon this device. So first of all, I'm going to start with the brightness test, where we achieved what one would call a modest result. It's 488 lux units. It's not bad, it goes past our usual mark of 400 lux units. It's actually better than Galaxy S20 Ultra, the Galaxy A80 and the Huawei Nova 5T. Still, it stays below the Galaxy A71 and the Huawei P30 Pro, in case you were looking for comparisons. Okay, and there's also quite a few options of calibration here in the screen department. So you go to display, you got your dark mode, you got your adaptive brightness, your blue light filter, your modes like vivid, natural, white balance, and the RGB sliders. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the screen, and once again it beats the S20 Ultra brightness wise. Now we go deeper into the phone. We go to the CPU, which is a powerhouse, the Snapdragon 855. It was a flagship for the first part of 2019, and well, it has some advantages over the Exynos, like less heating. We also get 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. However, it's not the new storage, it's not UFS 3.0, it's UFS 2.1 plus micro SD. The good thing is that we didn't experience any sort of lag. The games ran like a champ. You can run them on ultra details, even Call of Duty Mobile. Now we also did a bunch of benchmarks, and the thing you should take at home and remember from these benchmarks is that this phone easily beats the Galaxy S10 series and also the Note 10 Plus in some instances. Here, for example, in Antutu 8, it beats the new Huawei P40 Pro, Galaxy Fold, Note 10 Plus. That's pretty impressive. Now, when it comes to the Geekbench 5, we go here and we find out it beats the Xperia 5, Galaxy Fold, Redmi K20 Pro Premium. Once again impressive, but not reaching the iPhone 11 mark. And if you're all about the gaming, check this out. It beats Huawei P40 Pro, which is fresh, Huawei Mate 10X, Galaxy Fold, so it's definitely a powerhouse in gaming and performance in general. We also did a bunch of temperature tests and we were happy with the results. The thermometer never went past around 33 degrees Celsius in games, and in benchmarks up to 39 degrees Celsius, which is pretty dangerously close to overheating, but not quite there, so that's nice. On the battery front, this handset wields a 4500 mAh unit, which supports up to 45 watt charging, but in the case you're only getting a 25 watt charger. As usual, we did some tests for that battery, and our tests usually involve video playback in a loop. Check this out, an amazing result, 19 hours and 9 minutes. It's great. It even beats the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, the Xiaomi Mi 9T, Huawei P40 Pro, Galaxy S10 Plus, so in some ways could be a reason to buy this phone for its battery itself. Then again, it sits below the Galaxy A70 and the Asus ROG Phone 2, also the Xiaomi Redmi K20 Premium, but I was pretty stunned by the over 19 hours of playback. When it comes to continuous usage, we rely on the PCMAR app, and it showed us very close to 15 hours, which is amazing, almost top 10 material. Definitely going past the Asus ROG Phone 2, the Huawei P40 Pro, and the Huawei Mate 30 Pro, Galaxy Note 10 Plus, and it beats the Galaxy S10 Plus by 4 hours. Stays below the Asus Zenfone 6 and OnePlus 8, just so you know. A full charge is done in 1 hour and 5 minutes, and I have zero problems with that. And after 1 hour, you're at 97%, 30 minutes means 58%. So I'm pretty happy with the battery. So far, it would be a selling point together with the benchmarks and performance. Now we go to the acoustics. Sadly, they didn't keep the stereo speakers of the Galaxy S10. You only get this singular speaker here, and the grill is quite small. There's no audio jack, and you're not going to cover the speaker in landscape. So there's that. Okay, if you want tunes, we got them. Here we go. Okay, some impressions. The lower part of the phone's case vibrates quite a bit. I would say that the volume was reasonably high, not the highest I've heard, but reasonably high. Also, the bass was kind of lacking for my taste. There's a lot of options here. You got your Dolby Atmos, you got your equalizer, you got your options, and you go here, then you should go here, and you got equalizer, genres, 9 custom channels, and all that. However, I think it's time to talk about the results we achieved in our tests. We have here a decibel meter, and we measure the volume, and in an acoustic sample we reached a pretty modest 83.6 decibel at the bottom of the phone. Not very impressive, but it beats the Galaxy S20 Ultra, stays below the Huawei P30 Pro. When it comes to gaming, the result was mind-blowing, 102.8 decibels, almost going into gaming phone territory. Very powerful, beating the Galaxy S20 Ultra by 11 decibels no less, and Galaxy Note 10 Plus, S10 Plus, and Dolby Atmos also sure helps. So aside from the need of an extra speaker and the bass, I'm happy with the results. When it comes to the camera, a punch hole here holds the 32 megapixel selfie shooter, while at the back side it's a new approach. First of all, the camera doesn't protrude, which is nice. It's a triple setup with the LED flash. It includes a 48 megapixel main sensor with optical image stabilization, and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera, which feels like a bit of a compromise. No trace of telephoto camera this time around, so the zoom is only going to be of the digital sort. Okay, so first of all, we're in self-isolation and quarantine and all that, so the photos were taken closer to the house. That's something to remember. I'm going to start off with the daytime shots. First of all, a couple of balcony shots, and then we get to the really serious things. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the color calibration, even though now and then some of these colors feel a bit too intense compared to the real thing. Now, there's plenty of details for sure. You can even take full 48 megapixel shots, not only the 12 megapixel ones. Comparison, a regular shot and ultra wide shot obviously would make more sense to compare that with a bigger scenery. You can take some amazing close-ups of flowers. I sure did, and was very happy with the results. And these are not even the macros. I keep the macros separately, and I'm also very happy with those. Okay, so among the macros we have these ones, and I have to say that the 5 megapixel macro camera is just as good as the Galaxy A51 and the Galaxy A71. So now when it comes to the main outside camera shot, this is a regular shot, this is the ultra wide shot, which feels like it makes the sky a bit too white and it makes the colors a bit more vivid. Now the digital zoom actually impressed me. Seeing that we're dealing with digital zoom, I tried to zoom in on this car and see its plate number, and the results are actually not that bad. for a lack of telephoto camera. Okay, we move further. Once again, amazing close-ups. If it's close-ups you're after, definitely this is your phone. Okay, and one of these shots here is pretty relevant. So a regular shot with the main camera and the same shot with the ultra wide. As you can see, the colors are a bit different. I prefer these ones, which are more realistic. These ones are a bit more saturated, and you're losing some details on the ultra wide camera, but you're gaining a lot of angle, 120 degrees, which is pretty impressive. Okay, so now we change towns, we change the scenery, and we even gain some selfies. So these are the selfies taken by a colleague of mine. They're quite detailed and well done. A nice representation and rendering of the hair, and also nice cutout when it comes to the bokeh shots. It perfectly outlined and cut the figure from the background. But these effects that Samsung has been providing for a year now, well, they're starting to feel a bit dated, and we need a new version. Again, an amazing set of flower shots, and I'm pretty happy with the colors here, even though they feel a bit too intense and over processed now and then. Of course, we also have shots of a cat, which could be a star here. The texture of the cat is amazing. There's some AI work here definitely, but I'm happy with the results. Now overall, I feel that the overexposure which I encountered on the Galaxy S10 is now gone, and my only drawbacks would be the lack of a telephoto camera and maybe some aspects of the ultra-wide camera. That's about it. It can easily compete with the Galaxy S10 series and expand its functionality with the macro. These have been daytime shots, and the indoors shots are not half bad. Expected more noise, didn't get it, so that's nice to see. We go further next up here, and we got the low light shots, the nighttime shots. Okay, so first of all, there are some light sources which are a bit too bright and expanded compared to the regular ones, and you're definitely going to have to stick to the main camera, not the ultra wide one, which blurs stuff up, deforms it, and amplifies the light sources. Speaking of light, the camera captures quite a bit of light, so I'm happy with that aspect. Keeps the colors intact, but there's a bit of noise going on, so you should also take that into account. I'm happy with the photo captures we did here, not exactly on par with the Galaxy S10 series, but on the social media, if you're posting them, people shouldn't notice any differences. So once again, the lighting is probably the best aspect here, even though we're using an f2.0 lens, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that's about it photo-wise. For the videos, I'm going to resort to a special player so we don't mix things up. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a simple focus test. Very fast focus change, and I'm underwhelmed by the Full HD capture, which is noisy, it's rather dark, it overblows the colors. So let's just stick to 4K, which, by the way, this phone is able to stabilize 4K. It uses a special combo of the super steady and optical image stabilization to deliver something special. I know the image may feel a bit shaky, but there's no flicker here. The image doesn't vibrate, so that's nice. And the focus is among the best in the business, if not the best, which is something actually typical for Samsung. So if you want crisp quality, you're going to have to stick to 4K. This phone is by no means inferior to a Galaxy S10 series handset. Only its promises of improved stabilization, well, they're okay, but it's not the best on the market. I think that Oppo and Huawei can deliver a bit better. These were daytime shots. We have a nighttime shot, and here you can see quite a bit of noise and blurriness on the sides, if you look closely. Pretty decent focus, pretty decent level of light capture. Not bad overall. And we have this video as well. Amplified light sources, a bit of a refocus here and there. And that effect, I call it the boat effect. It's as if you're on a boat which is going like this. I've seen it before on quite a few phones. It's the attempt to compensate for the movement using the device's gear and software. Once again, I'm happy with the lack of vibration, trepidation, and image flicker, but you cannot call it the best stabilization around. Speaking of night, forgot to mention that the night mode on this phone is actually quite decent and comparable maybe with the Galaxy S10 series. Okay, I think we're done with the camera. Let's call it a 10% upgrade in some areas from the S10 and a 10% downgrade in some other areas. Especially the zoom and maybe the colors, and definitely the ultra wide felt like a bit of a downgrade. On the connectivity front, we got the dual SIM setup with 4G LTE. There's Bluetooth 5.0, there's Wi-Fi A, B, G, and AC. There's an USB-C port at the bottom, 2.0. There's also GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, BDS, and you also have your NFC for payments and the works. Plus ANT+. The calls were, I would say, reasonably loud. The earpiece is, well, I basically can't even see it. It's that small, so the calls were just okay. When it comes to the test we did for the connectivity, on Wi-Fi we got as high as 410 megabits in download and 24.8 megabits in upload, not bad. And on 4G, 97.9 megabits in download and 44.3 megabits in upload. These are values achieved in self-containment and isolation at home, but in the center of a town we could achieve much more. That's connectivity for you in a nutshell. Now let's talk about the software. Now at first the phone ran Android 10 with One UI 2.0, now it has One UI 2.1. The experience is largely similar to what you got on the Galaxy S20 series, even including the single take feature, which you can see here, and it takes, using AI, the photos you need to conquer Instagram. Now on the leftmost home screen here, it used to be the Bixby aggregator, it's now the Samsung Daily aggregator. You still have Bixby as your virtual assistant, activated by keeping pressed the power button. Inferior to Siri and Google Assistant, sadly. Multitasking is done like this, with a carousel of horizontally scrolling windows. And if you want split screen, you press here, you got your split screen view and also pop-up view. You can have a floating window on top of other things you're doing. Pinch the screen and you're treated to the widgets, which are minimalistic. They have a white background, they're very clean and aired out. One UI is, as usual, all about using the phone with a single hand, if possible. The drop-down section reveals the notifications, pretty clean, and quick settings with some useful stuff. We got the brand new here. Let's see. Music share, Bixby routines, you got your dark mode, your Dolby Atmos, your quick share, and linked windows. Other than that, I would say that the phone delivers an experience similar to the Galaxy S10 and S20 series brought to the latest software version. There's still an edge screen here, which I'm sure people have forgotten about, and the pre-installed apps are typical. You got your Samsung package here, you got your SmartThings, your Samsung Health, your Bixby. You also have your Google Suite, some Microsoft apps. There's Play Store, there's Samsung Members, there's the Galaxy Store, Facebook, Spotify, Netflix, and Samsung Notes to take notes. YouTube Music is bundled, and a game launcher for the gamers. That's about it. It's time for the verdict. Oh, I almost forgot to mention this. When it comes to security, you got a fingerprint scanner embedded in the screen, and this one is an optical one, not the ultrasonic one, and I would dare to say it's faster and more prolific than the one from the Galaxy S10 series. Okay, now we're really back to the verdict. On the pro side, it's a phone with a fantastic battery. It's got a pretty loud speaker, especially in games. The performance beats the Galaxy S10 series. The optical fingerprint scanner is a plus. I would say that the screen is quite okay in my view when it comes to viewing and game playing. Daytime photos are solid. 4K video capture is also solid. I like the macros, and the software is on par with what Galaxy S20 series is offering. So that's about it. Those are the pros. Now on the cons side, there is no IP68 here. The plastic back is definitely a minus. We don't have stereo speakers. The back is a bit scratchy, draws lint and fingerprints. There is no wireless charging, and also the low light capture felt in general slightly below the flagships. Aside from that, I would say that, well, that's about it. Not many things to complain about here. Somehow it doesn't deserve the name Lite. It feels like a bit of an injustice to call this one a Lite phone when it actually beats the Galaxy S10 series in a few regards. Now, first of all, when it comes to the battery, it's superior to the Galaxy S10 series. When it comes to performance, it's superior to the Galaxy S10 series. When it comes to the macro shots, once again superior, doesn't overheat, and has a superior fingerprint scanner. So take that into account. It all sounds like a better gaming phone than the Galaxy S10, a better macro phone, and why not a better phone for regular detailed 48 megapixel shots, and for a lower price. Keep that in mind, provided you're willing to make the sacrifice of the stereo speakers and giving up the glass for plastic. The choice is yours. If you're really into gaming, this is the phone for you, rather than the Galaxy S10 series. And if you're into macro shots and don't care much about the plastic, once again, this is the phone for you. This has been the review of the Galaxy S10 Lite from gsnhome.com. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye.